Loving yourself means treating yourself the way you wish others would treat you. And that is one of the best definitions, I think, for loving yourself. The truth is, you don't need to love yourself. You're born with love for yourself, but it's trained out of you. So babies and children are born with self-love, but it's trained and programmed out of you. So all you need to do is remember to love yourself and allow yourself to love yourself. And how do you do that? I hear you say.
Well, I think that it's an easy thing for, us to read self-help books. A lot of us have been trying for years to love ourselves. What is it that's standing in the way? Why can't I love myself?
So one of the things you can do is when you experience something from someone else, something bad from someone else. So let's say someone is mean to you, hurts you, disrespects you. What we tend to do is we tend to focus on that and go, well, that person hurt me.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with that is as you are focusing on what that person did to you or what that person is not giving you, let's say somebody's not loving you the way you want to be loved, in that moment, you're producing stress chemicals into your bloodstream. And so you are effectively punishing yourself for their behavior. Because you're producing those stress chemicals, which are causing damage to your brain and body when it's over a prolonged period of time, and you're putting yourself in that fight, freeze, flight, emergency state, and literally punishing your brain and body for something someone else did.
Yeah.
So what you want to do instead is treat yourself the same way you would treat a child. So if a child came to you and said, oh, those people were mean to me and they hurt me, you wouldn't go, really? Okay, now let's take a really good look at this. Exactly what did they say? Wow, yeah, what does that say about you? Hey, that's terrible. You wouldn't do that. You'd go, it's all right, sweetie. Let's, what do they know? Yeah, you're wonderful. You'd reassure them, let's do something wonderful. Let's take your focus off it and be nice to you, right?
We need to have that attitude of bringing that adult us to the small child. Because in the moment, when we're triggered by something, by someone or something, and we feel that trigger, it's automatic, and it comes from place of previous references.
Right.
And so, yes, the work is there. We know that we need to go back and change those references, but in the moment you feel that trigger and you're reacting and responding as the small child.
Right.
And what we need to do is get to that place of being the adult in that moment.
Yes.
So, yeah, as you were
parenting yourself,
as you were giving that example, I'm imagining all the years of my life, where I'm sitting there with a small child going, oh yeah, let's rehearse what they did to me. Every time we replay what they did to us, it's like, oh, did it feel like this? Boom. Did it feel like that?
Or was it more like this?
And really, if you think about it that way, we continue. They did something to us one time. And every time we replay that out, whatever it was,
or
just thinking it out in our head, your subconscious doesn't know the difference between reality, that it's happening in the moment, or it's something that you're reliving and you're pumping all of those chemicals back into your bloodstream again. You're continuing to punish yourself.
That's right. So the first step to self-love is to make a commitment to yourself that whenever someone does something to you or doesn't do something, so let's say, for example, you reach out for help to someone or you ask someone for something and they refuse or they ignore you, maybe they don't even answer you, they don't even reply to your email or return your calls or your texts. In that moment, think about yourself as the child who's just had that kind of rejection from someone, and notice what you're doing. Choose, instead of focusing on the fact, well, they didn't return my calls, that this means that how could they, ask yourself these two questions. How can I, or it's actually one question with two parts. Ask yourself, how can I encourage and support myself in this moment? So that's a really strong, empowering question. So you're taking the focus off the fact that things outside of you are affecting you, are doing things to you, that victim feeling, and empowering yourself. How can I encourage, reassure, and help and support myself right now? And that is very empowering. It gives you the power back, and treat yourself the way you would a child who's been treated that way. So reassuring, loving, affectionate, kind, compassionate, respectful. For you can't give what you don't have. So if you, as far as loving other people go, if you love yourself, if you fill yourself with love, that overflows to the other people. But when you're looking outside of you for something, that gives all the power away. So give yourself what you want from someone else.
Imagining parenting the little you.
Yes.
We can have love sometimes for other things like our pets or even our children. We can imagine loving them. But when it comes to actually just doing an imaginary holding yourself, can I hold myself and can I love that little child the same way that I would love a pet or something else? And it's like feeling that resistance. If you feel that resistance, that's where the keys are at in terms of trying to make some changes.
Change that. Yes. Loving yourself means treating yourself the way you wish others would treat you. I find that's quite a good and powerful explanation, because most of us are going, why don't they help me? Why don't they do that? I'm trying to, so in other words, trying to get love, affection, respect, value, encouragement, enthusiasm, support, and help from others. And what you want to do is give all of that to your, and that is one of the best definitions, I think, for loving yourself. And children are born, babies are born with self-love. So everything's about them. The world revolves around them when they're born. And then that's trained out of us to the extent where we are doing the opposite. And one of the things I've said in the past is, the quote of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I've changed that to do unto yourself as you would have others do unto you.
Exactly.
And then the others will, because then what happens is, if you're doing that, either you'll discover that other people, their behavior changes towards you, or you find you're surrounded by different people, people who will treat you the way you want to be treated. So if you're not feeling loved, it's not about anybody outside of you. It's about you not loving yourself. So if you don't feel loved and supported and acknowledged and respected, then look for ways in which you can give that to yourself.